Hey there, this is Ed from Barnabas Robotics. So this is my first video for the Wi-Fi Wheeler where we're going to go over some of the coding component. Okay, this video is meant to just be an introduction, just to kind of get our feet wet, and then we'll go further in detail as we move forward. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. We have my Wi-Fi Wheeler here already assembled. At this point, I've already plugged it in and got it working on the app. So I know that things are working. Now we're going to look at how do we modify the code on here. So the first thing we need to do is go to our web browser and go to code.barnabasrobotics.com. I'm highlighting it right up here. You need to be using Microsoft Edge browser or Google Chrome browser. Okay? So if you're trying to use Safari or Firefox, it's not going to work. All right? So Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge. Now, once you're there, you're gonna see a screen like this, or you're gonna see a screen like this. Now this screen is for block coding. We're not going to be doing block coding. We're going to be doing text coding, specifically C code. So if you do see this, go ahead and click on the button here that says text code. Okay, and you get to this screen. Now you might have some writing here or not. It doesn't matter. We're gonna erase it because we're gonna put code in there. We're gonna actually copy and paste it, and you're gonna go to this website. Okay, it's our GitHub site where we have the sample source code for the Wi-Fi Wheeler. I'm gonna put a link for this in the YouTube description, and then we copy. I'll just do a Control All and just copy all this. Okay, and then go here and paste it in, and we are good to go. So that's all the code. Let's see how many lines of code we have here all the way down. You can count 345. Okay, so a decent number, not crazy. Again, if this is your first time to coding, just to let you know some context for this video, I'm gonna explain things in a way where if you have zero experience coding, you'll still be able to follow along. Okay, so just a heads up for those who may be watching. You might have a lot of experience or no experience. I want to make it approachable for everyone here. All right, let me move this little logo because it's gonna be in our way here. I'm gonna put it maybe over here. Alright, I think that's better. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is make sure our board is selected. So we go to here, select board, make sure we're on WeMOS. If you're on the wrong one, it's not gonna work correctly. The lesson, it doesn't matter what lesson you select. And then we have two buttons here. So it could be on anything, and it really doesn't matter. On the upload and compile, these are the two buttons here. So I'll start with compile. Compile takes your code. This is our code here, and does two things. It checks to make sure that the syntax is all correct. Now, what is syntax? Syntax, I like to describe it as the grammar of computer code. So in English writing, there are grammatical rules. For example, you end a sentence with a period, and you start a sentence with a capital letter. Those kind of things, and they're important so that everyone can understand what you're trying to say. So with computer code, there's syntax, which is a similar thing. When you write the code, it needs to be, there's the capitals, the spaces, the sentence enders like a period. Those are important. And if you don't get it correct, the computer's not going to understand. All right. So compile checks the syntax to make sure your grammar is all good. And then the next thing it does, it takes all the correct grammar and then grinds it all up and makes what we call the program. Okay. So it takes our computer code, which is something that humans can read. Like if you let's just jump in line 52, it says you can read. It says pin mode, right? You might not understand what pin mode does, but you can read it, right? So computer code is human readable because we're able to read it. Again, we might not understand it, but we can read it. But then once you're finished compiling it, it makes it into a bunch of zeros and ones that the computer can understand. Okay. Now there's a few more things about, there's a linker and other things that happen within that compile process or further down after the compiling that creates the program, but we don't need to get all into that. I just want to give you an idea of what's going on. Okay, so this code here, you can read it, okay, as a human. Once you press compile, checks the syntax, make sure everything's cool, that everything is correct, and then it creates the program so that the computer can understand. When we talk about which computer, we're talking about this blue computer here, because that's where the code's going to go. So once we've done that, then you click upload. Okay, so by the time you finish compile, you're going to have this program, but it's going to be sitting on your browser. Now to send it over here to this board, you need to get your USB cord, and this is a it's in your kit. If you look at the camera, my face on the bottom right, you have a USB. This is a micro B, okay, a micro USB cord, and then you plug it in. So I'm gonna plug it in, and we're gonna get some. You should see some lights turn on. Okay. If you still look on my on the camera there of the Wi-Fi Wheeler, you see the blue light turn on. Okay. One note here. I don't know if you heard it on my computer, but go ahead. Whenever you plug in a device and a computer's able to talk to your device, it makes that sound. Okay. For Windows, it goes dun 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 dun. I think for Mac, I forget what it does and what kind of sound. And then for Chromebooks, it might not make a sound, or maybe Macs don't make a sound either. I'm not sure, but the thing I want to mention is this. All right. So on Windows, it does make that sound for sure. And the light turns on. Just because this light's on, it doesn't mean that your USB cord works. Now here's the thing. USB cords come in two main forms. One is a full-on working USB cord that has power and also has communication. That's like the one that I gave to you in the kit. I know the ones I gave to you in the kit work correctly, so you're good there. But if you use another USB cord, it might not work, because if you buy some USB cords that are only meant for charging devices and not actually meant to talk to them, like if you just want to plug into the wall, like a wall charger, and charge a micro USB device, a lot of times those only have power. And so if you use one of those cables, you might see this light turn on because you got power through your computer to this computer board. But when you try to upload or send communication stuff, talk to it, it won't work. And you'll be pulling your hair out. Why is it not working? Check your USB cord. Okay, so one note on that. All right, let's move on. Now we got to upload. All right, and then it sends it over on through the USB cord to the board. Okay, let's try the whole thing. So first, we have our code here, but let's go ahead and compile. And oh, this was because I did it before. You know what? I'll get to this in a second. I'm gonna add some code here. Let's see, something that doesn't really do anything. I'm gonna add a macro. Okay. Define Edward as 1. Okay, this really doesn't mean anything. I'm just changing my code a little bit. The reason I'm doing this is because I previously compiled some code and sent it to this board so that I could test it out. The cool thing about our website is that if you compile a program, it won't have to redo it again, because actually it's going to take some time to compile. So it's called caching. We're taking that program and just keeping it there. So if it's going to be the same exact program that's generated through the compilation, it's not going to redo it because it takes a while. So I have to change my code slightly so that it knows, okay, I have to recompile. So compile. Okay, now you see this little sand timer thing. Now it's going to compile it, and you're going to see it's going to take a little time. So why does it take so long? So most of the other Arduino, all the other Arduino boards that we've used for the Barnabas products up to this point, it's a really fast compile. Now the reason this is different is because whenever you compile for the WeMOS, you need to actually create an operating system. Okay, what's an operating system? Operating system is that basic program, the basic software that is running on the device. Real quick, think of it like your iPhone. Your iPhone, when you get it out of the box, it already runs, right? You can just turn it on and then it says, hello, welcome, let's set up your iPhone. That's the operating system running, okay? That doesn't have to do with any apps that you download. Like, you didn't download Spotify or anything like that yet. So before any additional apps, you have this operating system, okay? So if you just need if you already have the operating system and then you need to just put in, download a new app, it's really fast. But for the WeMOS, every time you put on a new app or new code for our situation, you have to recreate the entire operating system for it to run. Okay, and that's like the basic code that it needs to run. So that's why it takes so long. Okay, it finished compiling. Very cool. Now, now let's go ahead and upload. All right. So we got our WeMOS board. We click upload. And oh, here it is. Then something's gonna pop up. On Windows, it's gonna say USB serial something like that. On Chromebooks and Mac, it might say WCH something like that. It's gonna be a different device name. But check it out. So it's gonna be there. Then you got to make sure you select on it, click on it, and then click connect. All right, and then you can see it's uploading. It says erase file. So it'll give you this update on this. It'll give you an update on what's going on here. And so everything, because of that whole operating system thing I was talking about, that we have to recompile, regenerate it, recompile it, and then also upload it back on the board, everything takes a little bit longer. Not crazy long, but just a little bit longer. Okay, so that's why we added this these messages here, so you could see what's going on. Before, when we first started, you would just click upload and it would just sit there, and you would think, well, I don't know what's going on. Is this thing frozen or anything? So quick shout out to Dante Dam. He's one of my former students and open source collaborator who helped generate put all this code together, so that we're able to upload code to our Wi-Fi Wheeler using the website. So thank you, Dante. All right, so we uploaded it, and it should be working here. All right, so we uploaded successfully. Now let's go ahead and let's change some code here. Okay, let's talk about, I'm gonna jump around here. Let's talk about the setup. You see here, void setup, okay? This function is where we have all the commands to set up your board. So a function is, I like to call it like it's a list of commands, okay? So for example, it's kind of like if someone were to give you a note with all of these commands on it, that's like a function, right? So let's say if I want you to do like 10 things, instead of telling you all 10, I could just write it down onto my function or a piece of paper and said, boom, here, do all these things. So that's what a function is. So here's my setup function, and it has all these things in there that it needs to do whenever it turns on. So the setup runs right when it boots up, okay? And it runs once and only one time. Now what's going on here? Pin mode. These commands set up all the pins. The pins are the things that we stuck wires to. If you look on the board here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wires stuck into here. All right. So let's see, but not all. Let's see. No, that's not fully correct. Okay. The pins, these 4. Let me change my camera view. These 4 right here, these are pins. Because if you look at them, they're on this side of the board, okay? And they're labeled D0 through, I think, D. Actually, if I look at my, I think it's D8? D0 through D8. Those are the pins that can be set up right here. So I'm going back here. Okay, these are the pins that can be set up using the pin mode. Now, you don't see D0, D8 or anything here, right? You see these labels instead, because they are matched up over here, okay? So, for example, this motor A1, A1A, motor A1 is actually mapped to D0, okay? Motor A1B is matched to D1. Okay, and we go through. So you can see in the code here, I use D0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't use 5. And then I use 6 and 7 as well. Now 6 and 7, those aren't wired up yet. Now those are going to be used for the ultrasonic sensor later. Again, not going to be in this video. While we're here, check it out. My Barnabas spot. That's the name of our Wi-Fi network. Okay, so remember when you first set it up on the app, you had the My Barnabas Spot Wi-Fi come out. So if you wanted to change it, you would then change your Wi-Fi here, change it to, Ed's Ultimate Wi-Fi, whatever, and then the password. You remember when you typed in the passcode to connect your phone to the network, you had to type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, you could change it here so that other people won't know how to connect to your Wi-Fi Wheeler, right? You could change the password. So we could play with that later, but I'll just keep that the same for now. Let's see. So we set up the pin modes. Now, what's going on here? A pin can either be an input or an output, okay? So I like to think of as output would be if you're trying to set up a motor or a light, you're sending either light out or motion out, that's going to be an output. But if you have a sensor where you're feeling or like receiving things inward, that's going to be an input. So we have one input here. We have an echo. Again, that's for the ultrasonic sensor. It's going to be listening. So that's using you're going to be receiving input. So echo is going to be an input. We're going to add a button at some point where it's sensing touch. That's going to be an input too because it's coming in. We have a function here. This is a function call. We can tell because of the two parentheses here that stops all the motors, which kind of makes sense because before when we start up, we want all the motors to stop. We don't want our car to just fly off, right? Quick note on that. Why do I know it's stop? Why? Because I wrote the code. I know that stop all motors function means stop all motors. But here's another tip, right? You can name your functions actually anything you want. Okay. I could have called it like this, function 8, right? But that's not very descriptive, right? Because if someone's trying to read my code and they just see function A, it's like I don't know what that is. So whenever you name your functions, it's good to name it something that makes sense. I'm gonna Control Z to undo that. I'm gonna call it stop all motors so that if you have no context of like what's going on, you could read it, the code, and just be like, that probably stops all the motors. Okay, just a tip on naming. It's fun to name it crazy things like Ed's crazy function, but it might be funny, but it doesn't make any sense to anyone, right? So give all meaningful names for functions. All right, and then let's just keep going since we're looking at this. Serial, this stuff gives you the ability to send messages over the USB, so you could so it could talk back to you, back to the browser on the computer. We're not going to use that right now, but it's just a tool that we can use later on. So we set that up. This is stuff for the Wi-Fi and networking stuff. This one as well. And this is a message to the computer that we're starting the web stuff. All right, let's do we'll do one exercise and we'll end the video there. Okay. I want us to look, I'm gonna scroll down. These are some of the functions, these stop all motors. It has these 4 commands in there that will basically stop all the motors. We'll go into details later. I'm going to come down to handle text, okay? So this function is what runs whenever the Wi-Fi Wheeler gets a command from your phone, okay? Now it could be different commands. See, power on and power off. That's That's what turns the light off and on. Here, let me see if I could do this. So here's my app. Okay. Yeah, if you look, it's kind of small, but you can look on the middle screen. If you go LED, this button right here, LED on and off, that sends this command. Okay, so when I turn LED on, it sends power on. When I turn LED off, it sends power off. Okay, so and then this digital write command will actually turn off this LED here on and off. All right, so let's go ahead and connect to it. I'm going to disconnect and let me use my battery power. And let's see if I can connect to this, test out some of this stuff here. I should. Okay, here. My Barnabas bot. Switch screens here. My Barnabas bot. Okay. And then now I should be able to connect. Okay, good. Wi-Fi connected, and then turn LED on and off. You see that? That little where my finger is turning off and on. So that being controlled is directly this code right here. So when I press power on, it's sending this command and then executing that. All right. Now, if we keep going down, these commands are used for the driving. So these buttons, these levers here. Okay. But we're not going to look at that. I want us to look at these control panel commands. Starting at line 287, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all that stuff, right? So let's go if you go in the app and you go to control panel, you have this control panel, all right? And 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all that. So then now, let's go back to the code and check it out. Okay, so we kind of made this kind of a fun way to add ability to control this thing pretty easily. So look, if you look at line 287, it's stop all motors. So if I send 0, it's gonna stop all motors and nothing's happening, so that's fine. Now command 1, so if you look at line 291, what happens? Move forward. So let's do that. So okay, let me try to see if it works. I'm gonna press 1, it should move forward. And then 0 is to stop it, right? Okay, let's try. And then 0 stop. Oh, it works. Okay, and then backward is, if you look at line 295, is command 2. If I press number 2, it should move backwards, right? And 0. Cool. So if you wanted to make some changes in terms of like just making your car do different stuff based on this control panel, we want to create this code here so you could just stick it in here. For example, if you wanted 1 to have it move backward instead of forward, all you do would do this. So let's just do this. It'll be the one thing I change, and then the next video we'll add some more functionality. But let's say instead of move backward on 2, I'm going to cut this. I'm going to move backward on 1. Then I just do that and then put forward down there. Okay, now I just flipped it, right? So 1 should move backward now, and 2 should move forward. Okay. And then while I'm at it, let's do this. Maybe 7. See, there's no code here. But it says this is called a comment. This is not actually code. It's just a note to ourselves. And the way you know it is because it's green colored and it has these little 2 slashes here. Okay, so it's just a note to ourselves. I'm gonna go move forward. If I do 7, I'm gonna move forward and move backward. and stop all motors. Okay, not too bad, right? Again, we're just starting simple. These are functions I already wrote, so we can just easily do this. Now, how long do we want to move forward for? I want to move forward for 1 second, so we add a delay 1000. The way the delay works is whatever number you put in there, it's gonna just chill out and just let your program do whatever it was doing before for however long you put here. Now this is 1000 seconds. No, it's 1000 milliseconds, which is the same as 1 second. So it's gonna say move forward, and then like don't do anything new for one second, and then it's going to, you know what, I should probably stop. I should stop before I do anything else. And then I'm gonna move backwards, and the same thing, I'm gonna delay 1 second, and then I'm gonna stop again. So if I want to press 7, it should do all that. Okay, let's try. So I'm gonna, what do we need to do? We need compile. So I changed my code, so then I have to do that whole compiling thing all over again. And as we're waiting for this, I wanted to say that, remember earlier I had to change my code because I already stored the previous it's called compilation or previous compiled code on there on my computer. So that's called caching. Okay, so whenever you have something on your website and you want to save it for later, that's called caching. So our website's able to cache some data. Okay, just extra information for you. All right, so we're done compiling. Now that's been cached. So for example, if I press compile again, is it going to spend all that time? No, it's saying reusing existing compilation compiled because it cached it. So you don't have to save you time. All right, so now are we good? No, we have to upload it. We have to send it through the USB cord, and it's not connected. So I gotta take my USB cord, one side into here, and one side into my computer, and then let us now upload. Select the device. Make sure you select the device, and then click connect. And then now it's gonna send it on over, and then just read the messages. Okay. Almost there. And we are there. Okay. Now I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna just, okay, actually no, that's probably better if I was thinking just test it with the USB plugged in, but I want to use the battery because the battery is going to give you more power for the motors. Okay, if you try to run the motors through the USB power, it won't work very well because your computer won't be able to provide enough power for the motors. So we use the batteries so that we can actually get the car moving. And then now let's try to connect to the Wi-Fi. Okay. You've already seen this, but I can show you again. Okay. So my Barnabas bot. Okay. I already did the password before, so I don't have to do it again. Now let's go here. Okay, Wi-Fi connected. Okay. Now, if I go back to my code, let's see what changes we made here. We said, okay, 1 should be backward. So let's go. It's kind of small, but I know you can see that middle screen. Okay, you can see 1. So 1 should be backward. Let's go. And then 0 stop. Good. And stop. Okay. And then 2 should be forward. Right here. 2 forward and then stop. Okay, moment of truth, and then we're going to end our video. Hopefully it works. 7 has a little complex program where we move forward, for 1 second, stop. Move backwards for 1 second, stop. Let's go. And success. All right. So there we go. We went over how to get to the coding site, how to upload code, talked about how compilation works, a little bit about syntax, and then we made a few changes onto the code. So I think that's a great start. Next video, we'll just dig more. If you have any questions, feel free to comment or reach out. I'm very open to what you would like to cover in learning code and about the Wi-Fi stuff. So hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, reach out. Have a good rest of the day. Bye.